All right, all right. Answers by guess. What up there, guess?
Hey, let's go.
Hello there, friend. How are you today?
No, I'm all right.
All right. Week 3 already, man.
Yeah. This is how it goes. We wait so long and it just flies by.
It sure does, man. It sure does. Guys, as you know, Answers by Guess, Fantasy Football's inside scoop from outside the box.
Yeah.
It's going to be a good show up to episode 5 already. We're going to do a Sunday recap, waivers, questions, and give you a preview of Thursday night football. As always, remember to like and follow us on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, and Patreon. Guess.
Yeah.
Go for it, brother.
Yeah. Denver, Jacksonville, Sutton. He was like one of my top calls of the week. It wasn't anything mind blowing. It was rather obvious. A little bit of a down week 1, coming back from his injury. Judy out, playing against Jacksonville defense. It was a no-brainer. And I basically said that a week ago and said it in the Tuesday video, the Sunday video. Sutton. Williams is greater than Gordon. You're a Gordon owner. It's going to continue to go down and down a little bit as the rookie gets more acclimated. For Jacksonville, pretty much said Marvin Jones is the only wide receiver you really want to worry about. Chark was doo-doo. Chenault told you not buying into it from day one. J-Rob, he out-touched Carlos Hyde. They used the run. Big thing going on here is what I pretty much said from the jump. Trevor Lawrence, not looking too good. He was playing against a good defense, so we'll see. I will say, I got a point to make later. I got a couple special things later, Rob. I didn't tell you about that. Maybe we can make this a weekly thing, so we'll get to that at the end of this. Hamler was a bad call. I liked Hamler over Patrick. Listen, you got Patrick. You like Patrick. Use Patrick. Every time he plays a game, it seems like he scores a touchdown, right? So it's like the Will Fuller type effect. So, and Albert O is somebody to watch. Excuse me. Talked about him last year's rookie year. Got hurt. Went to IR. Drew Lock loves him, but Teddy's using him. So Albert O, if you're struggling at tight end, a lot of people probably are. He's getting a lot of burn and he's catching a lot of balls. Fant likes to get hurt. So he's somebody to keep your eye on. Buffalo, Miami, told you.
Excellent call, man. That was spot on.
I told you, Miami, for whatever reason, all you got to do is look back. Look back at history. A lot of times you'll hear me say, and it's a good thing, you can't go off of last year. Like, you can't say, oh, this player was awesome last year. I need him on my fantasy team this year. But you can look back at trends with teams when they play against each other. Miami, every time they beat New England, the following week, they typically lay an egg. And against the Bills, they typically lay an egg in the first game. Buffalo killed them. Now, some of that had to do with Tua getting hurt. Waddle was okay. Gesicki did rebound. Parker was fine. Then he got hurt. Singletary's greater than Moss. All of Miami's taking a downgrade for me. Jacoby Brissett, right? That's the quarterback. Yeah. He was like the hottest name 2 years ago when Andrew Luck retired. Everyone takes a downgrade there. If you've been holding on to Will Fuller, if he kills it this week, I did sell him, like I said, before he gets hurt, or they just implode. Houston, Cleveland, Cooks was pretty much the only call, just because wasn't really going to say Landry. I mean, Landry got hurt, but what can we do? So is it going to be Higgins? Is Odell going to come back? Probably. We'll see. Bryant was greater than Hooper, but Hooper was greater than Njoku. So Njoku killed it week 1. I mean, the three of them. Like, what are you going to do?
It's a carousel right now.
Yeah, and for Houston, Ingram, he's the one, I guess, right? But yuck. and we'll see what Davis Mills brings to it. And he only got one play, but he looked good. And this is a name I haven't really talked about, but I did have him on my watch list in both of the dynasty leagues I'm in. Demetric Felton, um, the rookie,
Felton, yeah.
the rookie running back, or Demetric, whatever one it is, Demetric or Demetric system. He's somebody to watch, just in case. Wide receivers getting down. If Odell doesn't come back, let's keep an eye on that for Sunday. He might be a name that I throw out there if you're really in a pinch. Won't get a lot of burn, but when he touches the ball in the preseason and his first NFL touch, right?
Did you see what he do? Some of those moves were unbelievable.
Oh, ridiculous!
Watching Madden.
Yeah. So he's somebody to put him on your watch list. If you're in a deep dynasty league, you got some scrub to get rid of. Maybe you just grab him, just hold on to him. Cincy, Chicago, Mixon continues to do it. I've loved him from the jump. I really wish I would have had some balls and taken Taylor at 5 in our big league, or even Mixon. But I took Zeke. We'll get to that in a minute. Boyd. I said Boyd was going to have a bounce back. Chase and Higgins got the TDs, but Boyd was the most involved. Mooney. Told you Mooney was a good play. A-Rob didn't get a ton of yards on a ton of catches, but he got a touchdown and dropped another one. Wide open, dropped it. And we'll see. Is it Fields time? They keep saying when Dalton is healthy, he's the starter. Well, is he healthy?
Is Dalton healthy? Exactly.
San Francisco Stifle Philly. Pretty much called that one. I said, I'm not really feeling Philly too much today. I did say I like Rager. That was a bad call. Quez was catching balls. Eli Mitchell looked good. Fumbled the ball, I believe, at the goal line, right? Is that correct?
I think he just didn't make it over the goal line. I don't remember seeing a fumble, to be honest with you.
Maybe that's what it was. They called it a touchdown, and then they brought it back.
And they threw it back, correct.
That's what it was. And I would have won one of my leagues. I lost by 0.04. 4/100ths of a point. I was winning. I texted you. I was winning the last drive of the Kansas City game. He had Kelsey, the other guy. I was up by 3 point something or 4 point something, full point PPR. Somebody caught the first ball. I was like, no Kelsey. Then Kelsey got a huge gain. I was up by 1.64 or something. Then he caught the next ball, and then the very next play, CEH fumbles the ball. It's like, no, you couldn't have fumbled one play sooner. I would have had the one. Right. And I would have won if Eli would have crossed the line. But whatever. And Debo, listen, Debo stats, he's killing it, right? But everything that I've said about Debo still holds true. He's got trouble staying healthy. I love Debo, as a player. Absolutely love him. Didn't want much to do with him because the past 2 years with his injury history just sort of scared me off. Wasn't doing much until he got his 40-yarder, and his 40-yarder was because of a poor attempt at a tackle. So Philly kind of shut him down. So until they find something else, I don't know. And Kittle didn't do as great as I thought he would do. New Orleans, Carolina, DJ Moore. Told you he was going to bounce back. How many people drafted him and then benched him last week, right? And then he comes out and kills it. And Dan Arnold did show up like I thought he would. All the Saints. But there's one reason why. Winston. He's Winston. How many people blow in their loads? Pardon my French. After week 1. 5 touchdowns. Jameis Winston, MVP. Let me buy his cards. He's the best. Well, he didn't really do anything week 1. Green Bay laid an egg. He had hardly no yards, hardly no passes. He only threw 22 in this one, and he looked exactly like Jameis Winston. And so, as much as I love and pumped my chest about Marquez Callaway, and as much as I love and I'm rooting for the continued development of Juwan Johnson, they're not going to be worth anything unless Jameis can get this together. Because he just looks terrible. Some of the passes, it's like, dude, what are you doing? They need to put Ian Book in. They bring Ian Book up around week 6. They need a quarterback. Jameis Winston's not a quarterback. I'm sorry. Rams, well, you wanted to say something.
Oh, yeah, there was just one play that he was literally falling back, the interception, falling backwards and chucking the ball up. I was on the phone with the buddy, and I'm just like, Damn, I think that looks like the Jameis Winston I know.
Terrible. Rams, Colts, Woods rebounded. Listen, Cup's the best. I mean, what are you going to do?
Everybody loves Little Cup.
Higbee didn't show up because Cup's the best. Pittman killed it. Pascal looks like I thought he would be in the preseason. I told you, Zach Pascal was somebody I really liked this year. He's doing it. And Darko, is it Sony time? He thinks so. I think it is until it isn't. Right? His legs are being held together by tissue paper. The stuff you put in gifts. That's what's holding his legs together, his knees. So Jake Funk is somebody to grab maybe. Raiders, Pitt, Renfro, Waller did okay. Deontay's the man. Luckily, he's not too hurt. Chase did okay. He's 3 for 70. Harris did okay. Edwards was biggest disappointment of the week for me. Worst call of the week for me. Kenyon Drake. Come on, man. Come on. Yeah. And Ruggs did something other than just catch a deep ball in this game. So, listen,
he had one of those too, though.
He did. That was the first thing he had, and then he got more involved after that. Avoid Barber. I don't care. I don't care. People are going to pick him up this week. Just don't. Come on. And it's Freiermuth. Give more and more burn. What more can you ask for at tight end?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
New England and the Jets called this one. I told you, everybody had Davis on their bench last week. They were going to put him in the lineup and then be pissed off this week. It was like my exact words. I told you to get Davis out of your lineups. I mean, it was just so easy to see. It's what New England does. Here's, again, you can't always go back to last year and say this player did great last year, they're going to do great this year. But you can look back at teams and how they perform based on their coaches and things like that. New England dominates rookie quarterbacks. They take out the number one player. It was so easy to see. Harris killed it. Hunter Henry was greater than Jonnu, but they cancel each other out. I loved Hunter Henry going to the game because I didn't think Jonnu was going to play. If Hunter Henry had both of their stats, he would have had a great game. Top 5 tight end for the week. But they're just going to cancel each other out all year long. And Michael Carter is the starter.
He looked good, man. I'm happy that I'm seeing some burn out of him. You know what? If they're going to be playing with rookies and playing this kind of offense, might as well put him in the game. Let's see what he can do.
Yeah. Minnesota, Arizona, Kyler, D-Hop, Dalvin Cook, Osborne, we talked about. Darko really loved him going in. We said, hey, he's worth a flyer. Hit that one big play, a little bit involved from that. Jefferson came back. Thielen continues the hot start. Madison's a waste. I'm telling you, he's just a waste. Like, if you're a Cook owner, okay, I get it if you need nothing else. But anybody else that is holding on to Madison just waiting for Cook to get hurt, which he might, which he could, which he probably will because he does, I feel like you could just get something else that you could actually use because Madison, I don't know. Go with your gut. That's what we tell people, right? And Rondale, he's going to be the biggest question, right? Rondale Moore.
I've seen his name come up a lot.
Welcome. Right? He's Larry Fitzgerald with speed.
The way to describe it.
I mean, yes, you want him, of course. So if there's any questions, I haven't looked at them. Should I get Rondale Moore? Yeah, you should get him. Will he have games like that every game? I don't know. Week 1 was pretty good. Week 2 was great. But Kyler Murray is balling out of control. And D-Hop's on the other side. Kirk's their possession guy. Rondale Moore's their super weapon. So why not? Atlanta, Tampa Bay, Pitts, Ridley. Told you I don't want anything with Mike Davis overall. Definitely didn't want anything last week. And listen, before we get too crazy about Cordarrelle Patterson, it was game script. It was game plan. They knew they weren't going to be able to run the ball with Mike Davis. They used Cordarrelle more because of the type of player that he is. Will it continue? Not like that. But we've seen this out of Cordarrelle. We saw it out of him last year. I used him 1 week last year as a wide receiver. I think it was for the Bears. because Montgomery was out. Might have been Monday night, and he killed it.
Yeah, that's when he had a run back and everything, I think.
Yeah, and then next week laid an egg. So don't get too excited with quarterback. We like him. He's exciting. Great to have. Duality's nice. Dual positions. But it was game script. It was against Tampa Bay. Believe me, when they're playing against a team that doesn't have the best rush defense in the league, they're going to look to get Davis more involved because they know that Davis is skilled enough to beat them. They looked at what the Cowboys, how they attacked the Bucs week 1, and they came up with a similar game plan. Matt Ryan looked great for 3 quarters.
Oh, yeah.
I told you about Mike Evans. I called that Sunday morning, not this past Sunday, the Sunday before, because the Thursday game was Tampa Bay. I said, next week, you want to play Mike Evans. Do not get down on him. He will have a huge game. And he did. It was so easy to see. This is how it's going to go. You're rarely going to have 2 big games with 2 receivers from the Bucs in a row. Antonio Brown, prime example, did nothing. And you'll say, well, guess that can be correct because Rob Gronkowski. Well, I mean, he got his 2 touchdowns really early. He didn't get too much other than that. And he doesn't count because he's like Brady's commercial friend. You know, he's his best buddy. So it's like Gronk's Gronk. He's not going to get 34 touchdowns this year. If he does, that will be amazing. I will love it. But I don't see that happening. Almost done. Dallas and the Chargers. Zeke looked good, and that's what I was talking about before, but we got to worry. Pollard, ruh-roh, Raggy. Tony Romo said, watching that one, Tony Romo said, seems like they're using Pollard quite a bit so they could preserve Zeke for later in the season. I think that's glass half full. Right?
Okay.
I'm looking at it a little more glass half empty. It's like, I feel like they're using Pollard a little bit more because he's a little bit better than Zeke.
I mean, you think about it, all the games that he's put together over the last, think about it going back to last season, last like 5-6 games, they've been pretty good.
Yeah. So I'm a Zeke owner in 1 league, and I regretted that pick the moment I took it. I was pick 5. I didn't have the gusto to go with what I wanted to do. He had a good game. I think he'll continue to have good games, but I drafted him hoping that he would be Zeke of old and better. But he's getting half of the, percentage. So his production is going to be lower. Keenan Allen, Mike Williams continues to kill it. All the extra Chargers, just forget about them. It's Allen, it's Williams, and Eckler if you need them. Everybody else, forget about them. Even Roundtree, I gave you his name before anybody knew who he was. Just forget about him. Forget about Jackson. Forget about Kelly. Forget about Parnham. Forget about Palmer. Forget about Cook. If you need a tight end, okay, whatever. But it's those 2 guys. That's it. And they're awesome. So all the rest of them, who cares? Tennessee, Seattle, high scoring, like I said. Julio, good game, like I said. Derrick Henry. A.J. Brown had a good game, a decent game. I thought he would be better. Lockett did 2 in a row, which he never does, so that was a bad call by me. And Gerald Everett, what? Where were you?
Yeah, what the hell happened to him?
He was on the field a ton. Russ just never threw to him. But what are you going to do when Tyler Lockett's catching 280-yard passes, it seems like, every single game? It's like there's no room for them to check down to Everett and stuff like that. So whatever.
Yeah, I mean, even Metcalf is having a rough time with the Lockett success these first 2 weeks. And you got to think Chris Carson actually came on a little bit more this week too. So that's probably taking some targets away from both those guys. Great
points. KC, Baltimore. I'm sorry, I texted Rob. I said, it seems like just like this year, whenever I feel like this was the game of the year, another one happens. Yeah. KC, Baltimore was the game of the year.
Fantastic.
I don't know if anything's going to top it. It was pretty ridiculous. Kelsey killed it. Lamar, we loved him in the preseason. Tyson, do not worry about Tyson. Got to talk to you about him and the 2 things that I got here playing in Hollywood. CEH, I thought he would be better, but listen, you got 60% snaps, 60% of the carries, 60% of the snaps, more than 67% of the carries. Hardman did better than I thought he would. Hill sucked, but no, whatever. Nobody saw that coming. It's the game of the year. D-Rob scored a touchdown. I'm not down on CEH at all. He's getting majority to burn. What happened in that game is what I thought would happen week one. I thought Darrell Williams would score a touchdown, a vulture one. He vultured it last week. So if it wasn't for that, and if it wasn't for the fumble, CEH would have had a great line, and you'd be loving CEH right now. So we got to stop wanting to sell low. So many questions and PMs coming in from multiple people. Oh, this guy's killing me. Should I get rid of him? No. 2 weeks. 2 weeks. If they're in the game and they're getting stuff, it's like, look at who they're playing. Like, do they really look like doo-doo? Or are they just not giving you amazing games? The running back position is tough right now. Like, look at all the running back productions for the first 2 weeks. It's tough. Like, there's a couple guys that are killing it every week, like Mixon and CMC. And then there's guys that you thought would be killing it, and they're just not. There's guys that didn't have a good week one, and they blew up this week, or vice versa. It's like, it's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. And perfect segue, RELAX. Aaron Rodgers, Detroit, Green Bay, the guesstimator, week 2, outside the box call. Quintez Cephas. I mean, could there have been a better Quintez Cephas? Could there have been a better start? Bomb on the first play, touchdown on the first drive. I'm changing his name. TJ Hawkinson is no longer stone for hands.
Okay.
He's sponge for hands.
All right.
TJ
Dude, he looked great, man.
Sponge for hands. He soaks it all in. Everything that's coming his way. Man, if I had him in the Dynasty League, I'd be licking my chops right now. He's going to be right in that top 3 tier next year with Kelsey and Waller, because I think maybe Kittle will fall out. He's top 4 easy. I know he was there this year, but he's like seriously going to be a contender for that top spot.
Goff loves it, man.
He's sponge for hands. Jones, Adams, and that's it. Forget about the rest of it. Forget about my boyfriend, Alan Lazard. Forget about MVS, who I started to warm up to. Screw him. And Bobby T, good for you. Still don't like him.
I don't know what it is you have against Bobby T, but
I know. Hey, I'll tell you this, though. I'll concede for now. I'll say, okay, you Bobby T lovers, you got me. I was wrong. Right? He looked good. He was the number 2 receiving weapon. DeGuara's hurt. Jace is suspended. Let's see another week. You can keep playing your Bobby T. I won't dog you. It's all good. So the 2 things I got here, just a couple things to point out. I would say my top 6 calls: Evans, the Bills shellacking, Corey Davis getting shut down, DJ Moore, Sutton, and the guesstimator, Quintez Cephas. A couple things that I noticed that I wrote down during the games. Trevor Lawrence's first touchdown pass was probably one of the most beautiful touchdown throws I've ever seen in my life. And I don't like him as a quarterback for whatever reason. Maybe it's just the hype. I don't think he's that good. But his first touchdown, you didn't see it, Rob?
I don't remember it.
His first touchdown was just the most beautifully, perfectly placed, thrown ball. That thing was thrown, and the receiver wasn't anywhere near it. His route went out and then back in and up. The ball was just there waiting for the route. It was just dropped right in. Perfect touchdown. It was incredible. Incredible. One of the best throws I've ever seen in my life. Kupp is the man. Tyrod Taylor looked damn good.
He did, man. Poor guy, man. Can't stay on the field.
But now he's Tyrod Taylor.
Yeah. Poor guy.
It's Eason time. I don't think Wentz is playing this week. He's got 2 sprained ankles. Like, come on, man. You need 3 crutches to walk on 2 sprained ankles.
You want to hear something funny?
Wow.
Sandy I was watching something, and it's that notification came up. She goes, "How the hell do you sprain both ankles?"
Yeah. Exactly. Winston sucks. Come on. That's just terrible. And here it is. Tyson Williams. because I know a lot of people are just going to get sick of this. He had two very important runs that I saw, and this is very huge. I'll close my book on this. He had a run, and I'm sure most of us were watching the game. He had a run where he had a chance. He went up and he had a chance to go around the outside, and he had a chance to cut up before the sideline, about halfway between where he was and the sideline, cut up, and he would have got a first down. But he kept going straight over the sideline and got nothing. He never made the cut. Very next play, they went to him with the same exact, pretty much, I'm sure there were differences, but the same exact kind of run. He cut it up. He got like 20 yards. That tells me that he's young, he's learning, it's his second NFL game, and they believe in him. Instead of taking him out of the game and being mad, why didn't you cut up? They said, let's run that again. He'll get it right this time. Lamar probably told him, listen, you got it. Cut up the middle. And he did it. So do not bail out on Tyson Williams. I'm telling you that right now. Be a mistake if you did. I don't care that Lamar is going to lead the league in rushing.
It's going to be between him and Kyler Murray, I think, man, for MVP this year. If they can stay the way they've been looking over the entire season, there were some throws that Kyler was making that I'm just like, at your height, first of all, how do you do that? And then Lamar, it's just, it looks easy. That jump pass to Hollywood Brown, how do you even do that?
He had like two or three. He said on things like, maybe that's his new thing. He jumps when he throws the ball.
But to have the arm power to actually be in the air and chucking that ball the way he did, he's not just a running back, guys. Yeah. All right, let's jump into some questions here.
Yeah, all the way to the top.
Oh, yeah, definitely. We got waivers and questions. You know, we're just going to put them together. Let's just do it together. All right. Hey, guys, watching you tonight. New shiny new laptop. Nice, dude. 1-1. All right, this week. Dude, I've lost in almost every single league. You know what? My boys won again, though, in their league, which they're 2-0, which is fantastic.
Nice. That wasn't too bad. I looked back. I was 3-3 last week. I thought I was 2-4. I was 3-3. This week I was 2-4, and I had that 1.04 loss. So I'm kind of floating at 500. But like I said, like I'm having guys that are doing okay and have chances to do more, or somebody else on the team is doing something that they're not supposed to, or I'm losing really close games. So I'm not freaking out. Yeah. You should not. Yeah. The ship will right itself.
And that's exactly. I was looking at my team. I'm like, you know what? My guys actually did show up. They played okay. I just went up against Tyler Lockett in one league. I went up against Aaron Jones in a league. And that's with me having a Kyler Murray, and that's with me having decent players. Like Tyreek Hill didn't show up for me. You know what? I'll take a bad week here and there, but I know the majority of the time I'm going to be probably winning that battle there, you know? So, again, don't panic, guys. Mike, we'll see with the – oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, like the one league that I lost by the .04, the 400th of a point, we were the two highest scoring teams in the league. If I would have played anybody else, I would have beat them by like 40. So it's like, whatever. What are you going to do?
Yeah, sometimes those weeks happen.
Keep trucking.
All right, Michael C. with the question, is Randall Moore worth using the number one waiver pick on? Do you think he'll keep putting up numbers like he has the first 2 weeks?
I'm of the fabric, I guess, if that works, that is he the best player that's probably available that you could pick up? Yes, probably. In most leagues, he should be in. He should never have been on waivers, but in most leagues, he's probably the best guy that is still left out there. Do you want to spend your number one waiver on him? Well, if you really need a wide receiver, if you really have a spot for him, a wide receiver or flex, then yeah. But like if you're rolling with 3 studs, and he could wind up being a stud. He could wind up being top 15. So maybe that's why you're like, well, I'll get him on my team in case he does become that. But then you lose your number one. If your running backs are real shallow, it could be 5 weeks from now, you need a running back and you're way back spot 12 on waivers. Somebody else going to get that guy. So it's like you got to weigh those options. Is he worth the number one waiver wire pick? Yes, if you are going to use him, or if you don't think you're ever going to need that number one waiver wire later on at another position. Every team is different. Every league is different. Too many people I notice in articles I read and stuff I listen to and shows I watch where it's like blanket statements where most people like in this, they'd be like, you got to go out and get Rondale Moore. Well, what if my wide receivers are Cortland Sutton, Devontae Adams, and I don't know, Mike Evans or something? It's like, do I really need him? My running backs are, I don't know, CEH and
Carson.
Austin. Yeah, Chris Carson. Like, do I really need, or should I just sort of wait until I need a running back one day? You gotta. Is he worth it? Yes, but he might not be worth it right now for you. It's tough. It's never black and white.
All right, let's keep it going here. Spencer with a question: is A.J. Dillon or Chenault or Marshall Jr. or Trey Lance worth a drop for Cordell Patterson or Cephas in a super flex PPR? Have number one waiver. Is it worth picking up anyone up? Cephas, Patterson, Osborne is available.
I mean, I'll tell you right now, I like Marshall a lot, but that's going to be a little bit of a carousel, but it's mostly going to be a flip-flop like you sort of saw this week. DJ Moore's the best one. Robbie's going to steal some of the deep ones like he did 2 weeks in a row pretty much. But Marshall is that guy in each week with more plays, going to get more experience. Chenault, I've been done with since he came into the league for the most part. People have high hopes for him from the jump. I'm just not with it. I'd have no problem dropping Chenault and picking up Cephas. A.J. Dillon, I'm going to wait and see. Aaron Jones was just sort of murdering. It was a very soft run defense. There's going to be games where they're going to need Dillon. I still don't think that, although I was saying forget about Alan Lazard, forget about MBS, RBs are gold. They really are. They're underperforming so far this year. Wide receivers are winning games for people. But RBs are gold, especially once it gets colder and we get deeper into the season. And I'd rather keep him on my bench. So I like Osborne. I love the fact that Minnesota finally has a wide receiver 3. But I think that unless you are prepared to drop Trey Lance for Osborne, I would drop Chenault for Cephas and just keep Dillon and Marshall stashed away. Patterson, again, I'm not, he's cool. He's fun. It was great. But it was a game plan, and I've seen it before with Patterson. And he's not a young chicken. He's been in the league a while. We know what he's going to bring to the table. Is he another weapon for this team that is short of weapons? 100%. Are they going to be losing a lot of games and he could get a ton of points? 100%. He has the duality. But I think I'd still really rather have Marshall at this point, especially the way that Carolina's playing so far.
One thing I will say about Osborne as well, don't get me wrong, we did call it. I thought we were going to have a good game. You got to think that the Cardinals were really pushing it on Justin Jefferson too. They had their guys. He was double covered most of the time. You saw Thielen and Osborne eat because of that. So I think if that's the case, depending on the defense, Cardinals have a better defense. Those targets would more than likely go more towards Justin Jefferson's side, in my opinion.
Yeah, I would drop Chenault for Cephas, though.
I agree with that.
He's the wide receiver 1 right now. And they're going to throw the ball 50 times a game, Detroit.
All right, Alan, with the question, would you play Higgins or Cephas or Osborne over Sterling, Shepard, or Sutton?
I haven't looked at matchups yet. It's Tuesday. But my answer, just off of name value and where they are in their team's pecking order, no, I would not. I would continue to roll with Shepard, and Sutton's the number 1.
Shepard's playing against the Giants this week. I'm sorry, against the Falcons this week, and Broncos are playing against the Jets. Yeah, no. I would definitely stick with those guys. Higgins is against the Steelers and a tough defense. Cephas is on Detroit against the Ravens, and Osborne is playing against the Vikings or against the Seahawks. Definitely keep those two in your lineup.
Yeah, Shepard and Sutton. Ride Shepard as long as you can until he gets hurt.
Couldn't get a trade, so do you think I should drop Corey Davis or Marvin Jones for Rondale Moore, or should I just roll with them?
I'm not dropping Corey Davis. Here, Chris, this is overreaction. Corey Davis laying an egg was one of the easiest predictions I've ever made in my entire life. Second, probably to Mike Evans having a good week last week. Like, it was so easy to see. So easy to see. This is why you've got to watch the shows on Sunday morning, because I flat out laid it out. They're going to get after Zach Wilson. They're going to take Corey Davis out of the game, take Corey Davis out of your lineup. It's pretty much what I said. You're not dropping Corey Davis. He's the number one. The Jets, Zach Wilson, they're going to be fine passing the ball. If you want to drop Marvin Jones for Rondale Moore, he's still the number one on the Jags. They're going to be passing the ball. Trevor Lawrence, as much as I don't think he's as good as people thought he was or think he is, he's still good, and they're still going to be behind a lot of games. I would be tempted to grab Rondale Moore for Marvin Jones, but if you don't get him, it's not the end of the world. But I'm not dropping Corey Davis.
I agree with that. I would honestly probably keep Marvin Jones and see if is there anybody else that's possibly on your bench, maybe a second defense, maybe a backup quarterback that you may not play. Yes. That's why I would be looking to drop for Rondale Moore.
100%.
All right, Alan K. Waiver ads, KJ Bourne or Patterson, Cephas, pick up Cephas or KJ Osborne. So it seems like a lot of the same.
Yeah. We like Osborne. We liked him last week. We like Cephas. We liked him last week. These are guys you could have grabbed Sunday morning and not had to worry about the waiver. So you watch the Sunday show. You learn these names. You pick them up. For these guys that you want to drop to pick these guys up now, you could have already had them on your team. This is why we do the shows, so that you can get the inside scoop from outside the box. That's what we do, so that you can be ahead of everybody else in your league. You watch the Sunday show. You would have said, oh, I got this bum on my team. Let me grab Osborne. Oh, I got this bum on my team. Let me grab Cephas. Have them on your bench. If they both suck on Sunday and Monday, you drop them and you pick up somebody else on waivers. If they don't, like they didn't, you have them. And then you can trade them or use them. Be ahead of the curve. Stay tuned. Right?
Answers by guess. Derek with a question. I need 2 flex options weekly. While I obviously will juggle week to week, how would you rate the yearly outlook for Claypool, Rojo, Rondale Moore, Eli Mitchell, and Jamar Chase? Any of these guys seem to be a lock-ins for week to week.
No, they're not. They're not lock-ins week to week.
All matchup based.
You got to play matchups. Now, I mean, you want me to rate them and not rank them. So I'm not going to rank them, but I'll tell you, Claypool's going to be fine. Big Ben's having some issues right now. If he doesn't play this week, which there's already discussion that he might not because he's hurt again, they're saying it's going to be Mason Rudolph. That's going to suck. It needs to be Dwayne Haskins. Dwayne Haskins will help him. Claypool's fine, though. Rojo, nobody loves Rojo more than I do. Right?
You love Rojo.
But I'm about done. They got too many cooks in the kitchen. Right? And for whatever reason, they don't like him. He'll be on a new team last year. If you play in a dynasty league, try and get Rojo. Try and get him now. His value couldn't be much lower. Get him, stash him, wait for next. Not have to deal with Bruce Arians. Probably the best thing you could do right now. And you just stash him. You just hold him, and you just say, "No, I'll deal with you next year." Rondale Moore, we've talked all about him. Eli Mitchell, still loving him. Why? Because he was the best. Because Sermon's concussed. Because Hasty's hurt. Because Wilson's a few weeks away. Because Mostert's out for the season. Because they're bringing in a bunch of bums. Sure, you hold him. You like him. And Jamar Chase. Burrow loves him. He's fine. He's good. You got good options there. You play the matchups, Derek.
Agreed. As far as Eli Mitchell, his backup's Carryon Johnson.
Not too bad. Not too bad,
But think about it though. Carryon Johnson is a practice squad guy now compared to being the starting running back that on the Detroit Lions. I'm pretty sure he's not good if he's still not the starting running back for the Detroit Lions.
well, he also can't stay healthy. Why is it that the 49ers players, not even just their running backs, the players can't stay healthy?
Yeah, Shanahan, man, runs them to the ground.
They injure 8 running backs a year on average.
Jeremy so Brissett won't put Gesicki production ahead of other pass catchers.
It might. The problem with Gesicki is he's not always too much of a check down guy. He's a seam, deep route, wide receiver type tight end. He's not Jack Doyle. And Brissett was good with Jack Doyle, running over the middle, a couple 2 or 3 yard passes. I mean, is Brissett serviceable? Sure, but like I'm not loving it like I loved it when it was Tua. I'm not down on Gesicki. I feel like they're going to have to throw the ball more. Their defense looks like trash all of a sudden. Now, don't get me wrong. We knew Buffalo was going to smoke them. We called it on the show. But their defense looks like trash all of a sudden, not like they looked last year. So let's just see. I mean, I'm not dropping Gesicki, if that's what you're sort of alluding to, Jeremy. But if he's the best tight end you have, you put him out there next week, and you see how the chips fall.
I have Gesicki, and I'm kind of not worried, but I'm looking for another option right now to pick up off of waivers, just in case. I mean, Miami is playing against the Raiders this week. Raiders have been playing pretty good. Raiders are home again too, so. Again, with Brissett there, I may not take a chance with Gesicki and may look to somebody else for this week.
Jeremy, look at it this way. Gesicki can't be worse than he was week 1.
Very good point.
That's impossible.
Shepard or Corey Davis. As I said, Shepard's going against the Falcons, Giants are home, and Broncos are home against the Jets.
Sheesh. Shepard or Davis. Shepard's playing against the Falcons.
Yes.
Davis is playing against the Giants. Denver. Jets are playing Denver.
Correct.
I would go with Shepard.
All right. Next one here. Flex. CEH.
Yeah. Who are the Bengals playing?
Bengals are playing the Steelers. Steelers are home.
And Houston's playing... I haven't looked.
Houston is Thursday night against the Panthers.
Oh.
Texans are home. And you got David Mills.
And the Niners are playing...
Niners are playing the Packers Sunday Night Football in San Fran.
Oh, boy. I'd probably play Debo. Honestly. Packers defense didn't look too great.
Yeah, they look pretty bad.
You get the Sunday night magic. I'd go Debo.
Yeah, I'd rather have a Sunday night option than going Brandon Cooks on a Thursday, even though you have a rookie quarterback there. CEH, you're just not sure if what's in his head, the fumble and so on and so forth to lose the game. And Jamar Chase was one big play for both weeks, if you think about it.
Yeah.
So it's hoping and wishing.
We'll go with Debo. That game's Green Bay's gonna score some points. The offense is getting this together.
So I picked up Mitchell last week. I have number one priority again this week. Who to take? Jeremy asks.
Who do you need?
Yeah, it all depends. If you have Gesicki, maybe you're looking for a tight end, seeing who's out there.
Yeah.
Josue with I was so high on Sermon that I declined a trade for Swift and Cup before the season started. Wowzer. Are you a San Fran fan?
Now, Josue, I get it, right? I get it because there was a lot of praise going for Sermon. However, I will also rip you, RIP, with that. just because Mostert was still the starter, even though Sermon was being drafted above. Although we know Mostert can't stay healthy, and that came to fruition. Only took half a game. depending on my wide receivers, it would have been tough. I love Swift. I know Jamal was there. That would have been a tough. That would have been tough. That was preseason. Like we look at everything in hindsight, right? And we look at everything with what are they called? Not beer goggles. What is it? Like we look.
Binoculars?
No, with recency bias. So everybody looks at that and they're like, "Oh my God, you're stupid because you didn't take Cup." I was like,
No.
Cup was being sort of a little downtrendish, right?
Yeah, you didn't know what was going to happen with Matt Stafford.
Right. So I get the turn down if your wide receivers were fine. But if I needed even a wide receiver 3, a solid one, I would have taken that trade. But if your team's solid, like you can't look at stuff that way because you didn't know Sermon was going to get benched first game. You didn't know he's going to get concussed on like the first drive. You didn't know Cup was going to be this ridiculous. And you don't know if he's going to continue to be. So you don't kick yourself too bad about that.
Yeah. And hopefully Sermon's back in a week or two, and you never know. We're high on Eli Mitchell right now, but they go through a whole bunch of running backs. LOL, those are some high expectations, yes.
They are, but again, we're looking at that with what we know now.
Oh, of course, exactly.
Listen,
a couple of weeks ago, it's different.
If Josue would have known that Cup would have killed it the first 2 weeks and Sermon wouldn't have played, he would have been like, accept.
Yeah, in a heartbeat. Should I trust J-Rob over Monty this week? If so, good idea to throw Hollywood Brown in the flex since I have DK and Shep as my wide receivers. You haven't been big on Hollywood. So J-Rob is playing the Cardinals. Monty is the play.
Yeah, they're playing
the Browns.
Right. Yeah, the Browns are tough. Browns are tough, and listen, if it's Justin Fields, that's going to hurt Monty a little bit because if they get close, Fields will run it in better than Dalton would. And J-Rob has underwhelmed, to say the least, but he made a huge step forward last week. Game just got a little out of hand, so they didn't use him as much. They got a little pass happy, and what's his face there? Stonehenge threw a bunch of interceptions. I think Monty's probably the way safer play. If it was me and I was feeling sexy, I would put J-Rob in and I would just let it ride. But I love J-Rob. Go with your gut on that one. Monty's safer. J-Rob's more fun.
Marquise Brown is the Ravens are at the Lions. DK is at the Vikings, and Shep is home against the Falcons.
Last year I was a big Hollywood believer, and then he just let me down. But he's coming through. And
there's no one else to throw to, also.
Yeah, and because they don't put Tylen Wallace on the field. I'm just looking to see who they're playing. The Lions. Yeah. Put Brown in the flex.
All right, Spencer. My wife traded Sutton for Harris and Javonte Williams. I'm guessing, is that fair? She needs a running back. She has Mike Davis.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty fair trade.
Is that Najee or Damian? Either way, I think you're
winning both ways.
Yeah, I think getting 2 running backs for a wide receiver is a pretty good trade, Spencer. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I mean, just hopefully, I would imagine Sutton was her 2 or her 3, but she's probably got a viable 4 on her bench. So I think that's a great trade, especially when Mike Davis is the name of the running back you're telling us.
Damian Harris, Spencer says.
Okay.
Yeah, I still, again, 2 running backs for a wide receiver that, I mean, don't get me wrong, is on a Denver team that could have QB problems soon. Don't get me wrong. Teddy Bridgewater, I love him, but we have already seen in multiple instances where he's been replaced.
Yep. I like it. Good job, Spencer's wife.
Corey J., who do you like more, J.D. McKissick or Cordell Patterson on the waiver? I have Ronald Jones and Carter on my bench. I think I'm just keeping Rojo and Carter.
Yeah, I mean, if you're dropping one of those two, no. I wouldn't even drop Ronald Jones as much as he's pretty much worthless until Fournette gets hurt. I would rather have Cordarrelle Patterson because I could use him as a wide receiver, and he might be the third option for the Falcons because Gage and Zacchaeus are terrible. McKissick catches a ton of balls. He's just so annoying. He's just so annoying. Um, I'd rather have Cordarrelle Patterson because I could use him in two positions, and J.D. McKissick is annoying. But I'm not dropping Ronald Jones or Michael Carter. You're not. Michael Carter is going to be your starter in a couple weeks. Write it down.
If I'm in my league, if I had Rojo, I would be looking for someone like Guess right now who will be willing to take a fly on Rojo. You drafted him kind of high. You may not get a ton of value back, but you may be able to get somebody better than J.D. McKissick or Cordell Paris to fit another need for you.
Yeah, find a Leonard Fournette owner.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
From them.
Spencer, trade CEH and Myers for Jefferson and Hines, Superflex PPR. I get Jefferson, an offer I want to try.
Yeah, sure. I would rather have Jefferson than Jacoby. And I'm still not worried at all about CEH. Listen, if you watch the show, if this is the first time you were part of Answers by Guess, I told you last year in the beginning of the season I wasn't buying CEH as a first rounder. It was going to take him some time. It still seems to be taking him some time. But I think he's doing just fine. He's getting the lion's share there. That is very hard to do in today's NFL. But I would take this trade because Hines is still catching a ton of balls. And if it's Eason this week, checkdowns are probably going to be plentiful. So I would attempt that trade for sure, Spencer. Not sure if they'd accept, but I would attempt it.
All right, Braden with the question. What are your thoughts on Rojo? Always find he picks up later in the year. Hold for a few more weeks? So kind of just related to what you just said.
Yeah, I pretty much answered that. I don't see a reason to drop Rojo. There's nothing on the waiver wire that is more valuable, even with his value being as low as it is. There's nothing.
Is it worth owning shares into the Browns wide receiver core at this point? OBJ and Landry are injured.
I would think Rashard Higgins, as he keeps getting back and back and back, he's like Baker's favorite when OBJ was out last year. But I think Odell's coming back this week. I have a feeling he's coming back this week. Donovan Peoples-Jones, I love him. Schwartz, I love him. I'm a closet Browns fan. I love Baker. I love Chubb. I don't think that there's a real need. I think Odell's coming back this week. But if you got deep benches and don't have many great options, I would take a shot on Higgins, I think.
All right. Jeremy, should we ever consider starting Pollard over Zeke 2 weeks in a row? PPR outscores Zeke. Which, by the way, before we answer this question, I know you're a Zeke owner, like you said. I do have Pollard on my bench if you're interested. But go ahead.
I think you mentioned that a few weeks ago.
Pretty sure I did.
Yeah, well, you're going to want to rate me. So you can send me an offer, bro. You can send me an offer. I got tons of RBs, so I think I'm pretty loaded. But you let me know. I'll tell you one thing, Jerry. The week that you start Pollard over Zeke is the week that Zeke outscores Pollard. So you go with your gut. Having both of them is like a blessing and a curse, I think.
Nick says not a chance. Pollard looks beast. I agree, Spencer. Should have taken Kelsey at 5. LOL. Yeah. I mean, he's right. I mean, you could have taken Kelsey at 5 and gotten a lot of production out of tight end spot, man.
I could have. I'll tell you this though. I think even if I took Kelsey at 5, I'd have the same exact record right now. Based on how much I lost by last week and how much I won by this week, it wouldn't have mattered. I'd be 1-1. So that's okay.
All
Moving on.
right. Yes, I agree. Would you rather keep Latavius Murray or Rojo, both meh guys in their respective backfield?
I'd rather have Rojo. He's got more explosiveness. He's way younger. Um, he is an injury away or a broken play away from really busting through. I don't think Murray has that in him anymore. I don't think if God forbid, I don't own Tyson Williams, but if anything happened to him, I don't think Murray just runs away with the job. It would be an even more crowded backfield, and he doesn't have the burst that a Rojo has. I'd rather have Rojo.
Spencer, I don't know. CH looks slow. Yeah. I mean, again, we're only in week 2 here. We aren't even talking about what Derrick Henry did, 182 and 3 touchdowns. You're 100% correct, Jeremy. What I saw in that second half was unbelievable, but that's what they should have been doing since the beginning.
Since the beginning of week 1.
Yeah.
We're not talking about it, Jeremy, because A, we're just so used to it. Like, are you even surprised Derrick Henry did 182 and 3? Like, this is probably like the 8th time his career he's done that, it feels like, right? And also, we're not even talking about it because everybody else is talking about it. We don't talk about what everybody else talks about. We try and get you ahead of them, outside the box, beat the curve.
That might have to be one of our new things. Beat the curve. I like that. I had a chance at Hawkinson and grabbed Thomas instead. Fuck. Sorry. FML. Sorry. G rated PG.
Which
All right.
Michael Thomas?
I would have to be Michael Thomas, I would think.
Yeah.
Who else are you grabbing around the 4th, 5th round? Where Hawk would be? Yeah, Michael Thomas probably sounds like it makes sense. Carolina D, your top stream defense. I like Carolina's D. I think they haven't been horrible the last 2 games.
I mean, they're playing Houston, playing against a rookie QB Thursday night game. Sure, they're a great stream defense. I'm not ready to fall in love with them. They have some great players. They have some great young players. I think it was last season. Was it last season? They had like 2 defensive touchdowns in the same game 2 or 3 weeks in a row. It wasn't Derek Brown, right? Derek Brown, is that the lineman? I can't think. But they had somebody in the secondary. Forgive me for guy's name, but it's a cool name. So if you were to bring it up, it'll be like, yeah, that's it. But I believe he had 2 defensive touchdowns 2 weeks in a row. So they got a lot of young players. They struggled a little bit last year, mostly maybe because of the offense with Teddy sort of fell into a mud puddle. But this week, yeah, they're the top string defense because they're playing Houston, rookie quarterback on a short week. So yes, but don't fall in love with them for the season just yet. But they could be.
Marty with a question. Flex, DJ Moore at Houston, short week. Pittman without Wentz, or Henderson if he plays against the Bucks. Colts are playing the Titans. Titans are at home. Leaning towards DJ. I would be leaning towards DJ as well. I know Guess is an Eason fan, though, so maybe Pittman might be somebody he would look at.
I would go with DJ Moore. The only thing that I worry about is they just go CMC bananas all over Houston. And you're just sort of up Poop Creek without a paddle on Thursday night because they didn't have to pass the ball at all against Houston because the defense did play so well. And they just ran CMC, not CEH, CMC all over him. And he didn't really need DJ Moore. That's why I might go Pittman. Pittman sort of, he had it going on towards the end of the year last year. Sort of didn't do much week 1 and then killed it this week. I feel like that's a trend that's going to continue with Pittman. Really love him. I think as of now, I would say Pittman just because game flow. Although early on you could get it with Moore because he's going to be the possession guy. Yeah, go with Moore, I guess. He's safer. I would go Pittman, but go with Moore. Definitely not Henderson. No.
Somebody I'm thinking about for daily, I guess, or daily for the Thursday night game. Look at Hubbard. I think they could get ahead enough where they may want to rest CMC a little bit, and Hubbard might get some love.
I gotta ask a question. Henderson, is he talking about Daryl Henderson? He's hurt. He ain't gonna play.
Yeah, Henderson's playing. The Rams are at home against the Bucks this week.
He's not gonna play, is he?
Well, they're saying that there's a possibility. I don't think so, but
Bruce Ribs. They
yeah.
traded 2 draft picks for Sony Michel. I don't think so.
The Lockett and Sutton for DK trade got vetoed in his league. I'm glad it did. Sugarman had Sutton and Lockett went off this past week. Yeah, the other person must be pretty pissed off. All right. Is Callaway done for?
No, not at all. James Winston just is terrible. Like what? He still only threw 22 passes that last game, and I think 4 of them went to the other team, or something like that.
Yeah, damn near close.
They have to fix Jameis Winston. He's just stinks. Seriously, put Taysom Hill in, because he can't be this bad. And I just want to say, Shaq Thompson is one person I was thinking about, but it was Jeremy Chin. Was the guy. Okay. Jeremy Chin, and they also had Gross Matos, but Jeremy Chin was the guy that I was thinking of. He had 2 defensive touchdowns, I feel like, 2 weeks in a row last week. He was just ridiculous. So they do have some good young talent on Carolina's defense. So they are up and coming for sure.
Oops. Heard on the radio rumors of Watson going to Miami, using him like Vic was used after his court cases, and if it's all dropped, start him full-time next year. What are your thoughts on him and Miami?
Well, I mean, that was a rumor a long time ago, right? That he might get traded to the Dolphins, and all the Tua lovers were like, why? Well, Tua can't stay healthy. He doesn't seem to be cut out for the NFL. So, yeah, I mean, I could see it. No team wants to touch him until the court cases are dropped. If he's got enough money in the bank to pay everybody off, then we'll see him in the NFL next year.
You got to think of the asking price, too, that Houston's looking for. They want 6 players in total in between draft picks and starters. I mean, that's a hefty amount for somebody that could potentially end up outside of the NFL. Mm-hmm. Play Rodgers against San Francisco or pick up Teddy B? That's what he wants to know.
A-Rod, keep the ball rolling. Here's what we had. Last week, we had Lamar finally get the chip off his shoulder and beat Mahomes. This week, I'm going to give a Tuesday prediction. It's a homer prediction, a fanboy prediction. Green Bay is going to get the chip. Aaron Rodgers is going to get the chip off his shoulder and finally beat San Fran. He's going to come out slinging. He's going to come out pissed off. He can never beat San Francisco. San Francisco always gets him. Always. Ever since Colin Kaepernick. Ever since Steve Young and Terrell Owens. San Francisco would get Green Bay.
They have their number.
A-Rod's going to get the chip off his shoulder this week. Play A-Rod.
All right. Jeremy was responding to before. Not many good tight ends out there. Maybe Hope Mitchell does really well. Ride Gesicki this week and flip him for a tight end next week. Yeah, I guess. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying get rid of Gesicki. Gesicki could have a good game. I mean, Brissett was looking his way when he was in the game. So that's definitely a positive. His interception happened when it was towards Gesicki. It's a wait and see kind of thing. I was just mentioning that I'm looking for another tight end just because of how competitive my league is. If I'm not going to get the tight end, somebody else will. Hostway, my wide receivers were fine, or so I thought. DJ Moore, Lamb, Ayuk, or Cup. Would
No,
Cup?
so Cup.
So Cup would have came in handy. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, that was the
Yeah.
response to what you were saying before.
Yeah. I mean,
Right. Josh with a question. Corey Davis, Jamar Chase, Robinson, or DJ Moore in the flex? I'm going to go, I'm not sure, Allen Robinson or J Rob?
yeah, that's a good question. I was thinking J Rob.
Chicago's at the Browns.
Yeah, no, my whole thing is like DJ Moore, amazing matchup. I just don't know if you don't get the production out of him early, you're not going to get the production. If Carolina's defense is as good as we think, if Davis Mills doesn't step up, Carolina's just going to run all over Houston, and they won't need to throw the ball. So that's what worries me a little bit. And we'll talk about this game, and I guess that's pretty much going to be my preview thought for it. I don't want it to be that way. Trust me. I just worry that's how it's going to be. Chase has been that, like you said, Rob, a big play here, a big play there. Now you're going against the Steelers. Will they have more chances if it's Mason Rudolph? Probably, but maybe not. Big Ben hasn't looked great. If it's James Robinson, I kind of like that sneaky play this week. If it's Allen Robinson, you said the Bears are playing the Browns. We don't even know if it's Justin Fields or if it's Dalton. I think it's going to be Fields. I think Robinson would have had 2 touchdowns last week if he would have caught it. You got Corey Davis going against the Broncos. A tough defense for Zach Wilson. Man, I'd probably go Allen Robinson if it's Allen Robinson. Then I'd probably go, it'd be between Corey Davis and James Robinson if it's James Robinson. As of now.
All right.
Either way, I'm going to bench DJ Moore. I just have a feeling. I have a feeling. I just think Carolina's not going to have to throw the ball much. Just
Spencer was saying Damian Harris from before.
Great trade.
I'm not sure what fifth meant, but we have our first YouTube question. I like this. D-Hop and Zeke or Eckler and Devontae Adams?
Ooh. Man, it's probably your first time watching the show since you're watching from YouTube, so welcome. Anybody that knows us for the past 4 years knows how I feel about Eckler. Great player, just has a hard time staying healthy. I'm going to go D-Hop Zeke.
I'm going to agree with him on that one. Naham, I'm going to go with. Hopefully I didn't mispronounce that. But D-Hop is my favorite player in the NFL. It's just amazing what he can do and the way him and Kyler have a connection. He was looked at a lot in the beginning of the game this week and then kind of fell off. It was just because Moore ended up just doing miraculous plays, and so did Kyler, trying to run away from that defense.
I'm going to say right now, with what we've seen so far this season, the correct answer is Eckler and Devontae. Even with the terrible game week 1 for Green Bay. That's the correct answer right now. But we're looking for the rest of the season. We're not looking behind. Answers by Guess is all about getting outside the box, thinking ahead, being a step ahead of everybody else. I think D-Hop continues. I think Zeke's usage continues to get better. Remember, if they didn't play the Bucs week 1, Zeke would have had a good game week 1. Now, we're worried about Pollard, but he'd have 2 solid games under his belt, and nobody would be as worried about Zeke. I just don't think Eckler holds up. He plays normally 60% of the games because he's out the other 40% with injury. So it's going to happen. It almost happened already. And while I think Devontae, nobody has to say anything about him. You're not here to ask us real questions about Devontae Adams. It's moving forward. I think Zeke will stay more healthy than Eckler. And that's why I go D-Hop and Zeke.
All right, and if Zeke does continue to play well and Keith, you maybe could flip Zeke for something better. All right, Spencer, his wife has great wide receivers: Diggs, Shepard, Cooper, A.J. Brown, OBJ. Those are good receivers. How many more dominant seasons before Henry is in the GOAT RB talk?
I would almost ask how many more overused seasons before Henry is done. That's what I worry about. I even thought coming into this season that if they continue to use him, and maybe that's what they were thinking, not using him so much week one and the first half of week two, we can't run him 300 times, give him 300 plus every single year because he's going to run out of energy of withstanding. But all Henry has to do is break 200,000 or 2,000 and break the rushing record, however many seasons it might take him. He's got to continue doing this for at least 3 more seasons, I would think, before he gets in the GOAT talk. I mean, people are talking about Jim Brown and Gale Sayers. Are you talking about Barry Sanders and Emmett Smith? You're talking about LaDainian Tomlinson, Marshall Faulk type stuff. 3 more years. I don't know if he lasts that long. That's what worries me with the amount of usage he has. Listen, I think if Darrington Evans never got hurt, you'd be seeing another running back helping out. The problem is they have no other good running back right now because Evans got hurt in the preseason. And when he comes back, he's going to take a lot of Henry's load away.
What I'm not understanding is why don't they have an RB2? I mean, McNichols is just to time off here and there. Like, why didn't they go after a Latavius Murray, who's very similar in the way he runs and so on and so forth? I'm not in love with Latavius Murray, but again, just to give him a little bit of a break almost in a way.
Well, here's the thing. They could have. Maybe they did. And the Ravens were ahead of them on waivers. You know what I mean?
That's true.
I don't know. Did he clear waivers? Maybe. I don't know. I don't know how it went down. But I'm telling you, Darrington Evans, when he gets back, he'll be back in a few weeks, he's going to steal some touches and do some things with them. So if you're looking ahead, you're watching Answers Right Guess, Darrington Evans' name is probably on the waiver wire in the next couple weeks. You want to make sure you got an eye on him and you're ready to pluck because he's somebody who could help you out in the stretch run. Darrington Evans, don't forget about him.
I was so high on him last year. I drafted him in everything.
And I talked about him all preseason. We both did. Logan Thomas, when he was saying Thomas. He drafted Logan Thomas instead of over him. Logan's done okay, but I still would have taken Sponge for hands. He's no longer Sponge for hands. He's now Sponge for hands.
How about Aaron Jones this past week? Got me 40. Just mad.
Yeah, we've seen that before from him. I mean, it's a great matchup. Bounce back game. Easy to see. Just don't expect it every week. Because Dylan will get burned.
I like the fact that him and Jamal Williams, pass jerseys along. Did you see that video I sent you about Jamal Williams?
Was that the one where he was talking about his girlfriend?
The one that Green Bay's like, I didn't sign back with Green Bay. It's not my fault. They dropped me like a bad girlfriend. You know what? I found a rebound. And Detroit's treating me nice. Cooks me dinner. Takes me out. Yeah. It was so funny. I'm gonna post. I'll post it on the page so that everybody can see it. Play Logan Thomas or pick up Hooper with Landry out and OBJ potentially out.
I just play Logan Thomas.
Yeah, it's a carousel over there. I mean, you really don't know who it's going to. I'm thinking of playing Pitt D over Browns D. I'm not a Fields fan, and I think this is going to be this will be a comeback to earth game. But Burrow looked bad against the Bears, 3 interceptions in a row.
Real quick, back to Josue. You got to play Logan Thomas. You know me, I'm not a huge Logan Thomas guy, but he's been solid each and every week, consistent. And as far as Jeremy goes, you're playing Pitt D over the Browns D. Yeah, why not? Because the Bears have weapons, and Pittsburgh's playing. I'm just looking. Pittsburgh's playing the Bengals. Yeah, play Pittsburgh D. Pittsburgh's at home against the Bengals. Yeah, definitely. Why not?
I don't know, man. I mean, definitely go with your gut. I'm kind of feeling the Browns D, especially going against a rookie quarterback. I mean, Don't get me wrong, I am in love with Justin Fields. I think he should be rookie of the year and stuff like that. But Browns defense is going to have to step up because the offense isn't there, right?
Well, this is the whole thing. I think that the offense for the Browns is going to be fine because I think Odell's going to play this week, and both running backs are there. The problem you're going to have with the Pit D is if Ben Roethlisberger doesn't play, if Mason Rudolph plays, and they don't go with Dwayne Haskins, that's going to hurt their defense. Not having a good offense is bad for your defense. So if you're saying you like the Browns defense because their offense is going to be good, it's going to hurt. It hurts their defense because the defense winds up on the field more often. It's very tough. But Jeremy, it's Tuesday. And as of now, sure, tune in Sunday morning and we'll tell you how we feel. Right? Let's write that one down for Sunday. So many things change. We can't answer, should I do this or should I do that on Tuesday? Because we still have basically 5 days to get through. If you're setting your lineup on Tuesday and falling asleep until Monday, you're probably not going to be too successful. Check in on Sunday morning. Watch the show Sunday morning when we go live.
All right. I wrote it down as well.
Thank you.
Chris with the question, would you drop Denver D for Carolina defense?
No, I would not.
I'm not doing that.
I think Denver is going to be the best defense by the time the season's over.
Denver top-ranked defense this week. Yeah, they're going against the Jets, man. I mean, Zach Wilson didn't look great. I mean, I'm just going to put it out there. Peyton Manning didn't look great at the beginning of his career as well.
Yeah.
You got to think Mark Sanchez threw, I think, a 5-interception game as well, and he ended up in the AFC Championship. I think people are a little hard on Zach here.
Oh, for sure. We called it. We said it's so easy. Do not overreact to this. We said Zach Wilson is going to have a rough game. Corey Davis is going to do nothing. Why? Because Bill Belichick is great against rookie quarterbacks, and he's great at taking out a number one weapon, which makes him even better with the rookie quarterback because he knows the rookie quarterback is going to rely on the number one weapon. We called it. You can now overreact. Week 1, he looked fine. He was okay his first game. After this week, we'll see. We'll continue to evaluate, continue to get better. He's played 3 great defenses after this week.
All right, Chris, question. Play Mark Andrews or Logan Thomas?
Mark Andrews or Logan Thomas. You know how I feel with Logan, right? Just basically sort of talked about it. Ravens are playing. Who are the Ravens playing again? Easy one, right?
The Lions, yeah.
Yeah.
If you don't mind me jumping in, I'm actually excited about Mark Andrews this week. He's had 2 okay, really not looking his way kind of weeks. I think this is the time. Lions are not good against the tight end. Look what Tunyon just did. I think Mark Andrews is way better than Tunyon. I think this could be a real good Mark Andrews week.
Yeah, I'd go Mark Andrews just because, I already said Logan Thomas over somebody else. But again, it's Tuesday.
It is. Allen, Rookie of the Year, front runner at the moment.
What do you think, Rob?
I don't know, man.
Let's say Rondale.
Yeah, or Jamar. I mean, those are the 2 that come to mind right away. And again, it's Jamar is just because of the what's it called? If we're going offensive Rookie of the Year, then one of those guys. Defensive Rookie of the Year, just because of Patrick Surtain, what he did this past week, I'm going Patrick Surtain Jr.
Yeah, I would agree with that. But I'm going to say Rondale because he's the only one that's had 2 really solid weeks in a row. He was good week 1. He was great week 2. So it's got to be him for me.
All right. Another YouTuber. I like it. James. Carolina, Buffalo, or Baltimore defense week 3?
I would love the Buffalo, but no. I'm not falling into the trap. We called them shellacking Miami. I think I love Baltimore, but I think I got to go Carolina this week. I got to go the short week against a rookie quarterback. I just think it's It's too easy. It's too easy. They're ascending defense. They're on the road, but it's a short week against a rookie quarterback. I got to go Carolina, who has they basically have one offensive weapon, one real offensive weapon in Brandon Cooks, because Nico Collins is out for a few weeks. Everybody else is just basically the replacements, right? Danny Amendola, I think, is playing for them, and they might even have Danny Woodhead still there.
I mean,
You
Lindsey
got-
would probably be another pass catcher. David Johnson. I mean, again, these are guys that they're going to be looking to be able to make some offense for them. But
even Lindsey, like he had the one big catch and the touchdown last week, but other than that, like not really. It's Mark Ingram, and they're underusing David Johnson. Carolina will be able to do work against the rookie quarterback and shut down just one of the main weapons that they have to worry about, Brandon Cooks.
Another question from James: keep Sermon or Mitchell? I have two different answers here, but you can go first.
Well, right now, you probably put Sermon on your IR because he's going to be out this week, I think.
He has to go through the protocol.
Right. I'm keeping Mitchell. He's still the number one. He got the most burn. Now, granted, Sermon got concussed. Hasty's hurt. If the shoulder's okay, there's no reason to drop Eli Mitchell at this point. They went through the offseason, kept it a secret, moved him up to number 2 on the depth chart. Mostert's injury put him at number 1. Yes, they share the backfield with 13 other running backs, but he's the top one. He's the healthiest one if that shoulder's okay. You're not dropping Mitchell. So if you have to drop one, I would drop Sermon. But the smart move, which maybe what you're going to allude to here, is to do what? Try and trade. Trade them both. Put them in a package together and say, hey, you want the Niners backfield so I don't ever have to worry about it again? Maybe you can get Javonte Williams. Say, I'll give you the 49ers backfield, Sermon and Mitchell. Give me Javonte Williams. And then you just coast the rest of the year.
I like it. I was also going to say that depending on what kind of league it is, if it is a long-term league and like a dynasty league, I'm trying to keep Sermon and I'm trading Mitchell at this point to try to see if I could upgrade my roster.
Yeah, I'd trade both, even so, if it was a dynasty league.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, package them up. Exactly.
And sexy.
I mean, DeAndre Swift didn't have a great game. Maybe you target him, like you said, Javonte Williams. I mean, there's some young guys that you can go after that have a lot of potential still out there. Darko with Galladay breakout game this week, 150 and 2 touchdowns against the Atlanta Falcons. Yeah, I can see that happening.
Darko, I mean, I called this last week. I said, week 2 is going to be tough for your Giants, your Barkley and your Galladay. But the exact words I used, right? Sunday was their first game coming back, both of them coming back from injuries. Then they had to have a quick game Thursday, which would be better for both of them because their bones were still a little warm. They didn't have a chance to really heal and tighten up. They kept their bones warm. Then they were going to get 10 days off before they had to play the Falcons in week 3. And I told you, I said, Barkley is going to go off. I told every single person that watches the show, which isn't enough of us.
Yeah.
I said, go out and get Barkley immediately following week 2 or immediately following week 1 so that you could use him week 3 before the manager even realizes they're playing Atlanta. I said, Kenny Galladay, who I don't love going into the season, is going to have a big game week 3 as well because they're playing in the same exact universe right now. Hurt, getting warm, getting warmer, heating up on fire. Right? And they've had 10 days off to prepare for this game, to get healthier. They both break out this game. Darko, you're 100% correct. You're just a week late, my man.
All right, Nick, with the question, do we drop Gaskin for Shepard, who's on the waiver?
3 weeks ago. I'm not a Miles Gaskin fan. I have not been. Ahmed finally got more burn than him last week. I say finally as if it was forever, but it's just the second week of the season. He's the better running. He's the better running back on the team. They still have Brown there to vulture touchdowns if they ever even get close to the red zone again. Drop him. Sterling Shepard should not be on the waiver wire. You definitely pick him up.
Shepard just got dropped last week, or I would have snagged him. LOL. We're not yelling at you, man.
No, but drop Gaskin, especially if you have running back depth. If you have 3 solid running backs and he's your 4th or your 5th, goodbye.
All right, let's go into the Thursday show here. Thursday game here. Carolina Panthers at Houston Texans. We've talked about it already to the utmost extent. Just go over the points that you were saying as far as some of these players and the defense and so on and so forth.
Yeah, I mean, as we got going through it, you pretty much have my breakdown of the way I think this game is going to go. I hope it doesn't. But because I'm saying it to you, I hope it does. But I'm nervous. I called it last. I didn't like him going into the season. DJ Moore talked about it on Sunday. Felt like he was being drafted way too high. Don't care about the statistics. Don't care about last season or the year before. But I liked him going into this past week, 2 days ago. I said DJ Moore's going to have a great game. He did. I feel like this is a great matchup for it. If this was, what's his face, Deshaun Watson, if it was even Tyrod Taylor, I'd say, yeah, play DJ Moore. I'm not hating on Davis Mills. I actually think he has potential. It's Davis Mills and Ian Book. If you don't know what Ian Book is, I mentioned earlier in the show, rookie quarterback for the Saints. I feel like those are 2 guys that were not being talked about enough because everybody was talking about the big 5. There are 2 guys that were not being talked about enough who actually have a pretty nice path to becoming starters. And look, here we are. Davis Mills is already the starter. But I worry about my Panthers players if they're not named Christian McCaffrey because you probably won't be needed. And the Panthers are 2-0, and their defense is ascending, and they're going into Houston on a short week against a rookie quarterback. I think they should have no problem jumping out to a pretty good lead, although Houston's been playing pretty good at the beginning of games and week 1 throughout the game. And when it gets to that point, they're not going to need to push the issue. Sam Darnold won't even take a chance of seeing a ghost. He will hand the ball off to Mr. Chubba Chuba, however you want to pronounce it phonetically or however he says it, and CMC early on, and there'll be some passes. You're not going to get goose eggs, but I don't think we see, other than the one bomb to Robbie, which you know he's going to get. You're going to get a bunch of checkdowns to DJ Moore. You're probably going to have some more Dan Arnold being involved. But if you don't get your points out of these guys early, I think that it's going to be an issue, which is why I would steer away from them if it's not CMC, if it's not the defense. For Houston, Brandon Cooks is a fine play, but we just worry about Davis Mills against this defense, accuracy. They're going to be throwing a ton. Volume is the name of the game in fantasy. So if you're stuck with Cooks, you let it ride. If you got a better option, you find somebody else. The running backs, I don't want to touch them. That's it. I mean, I think this game will be Carolina's controlling it just from the jump. I am not one of the people that thinks Carolina is sliced bread. Right? I get it. They're 2-0. They've looked great. But I'm not buying into them being world beaters just yet. This just so happens to be a game where they could beat the world. Right? They're playing against Houston on a short week with a rookie quarterback. This game could turn into something boring and ugly. But again, I hope I'm wrong. We should never wish that for somebody that's trying to give fantasy advice, but I hope I'm wrong. And I hope we get a treat on Thursday. But I'm going to shy away from everybody in this game unless I have to play Cooks or I'm blessed with Christian McCaffrey or the Carolina defense.
All right, Antonio. Hello there, friend. Galladay or Chase? I'm assuming Jamar Chase.
Um, I'd probably go Galladay.
Yeah, I would as well. Going against the Falcons defense compared to
Yeah.
Jamar going against the
He's
Pittsburgh.
warming up. He's warming up. Called it. I can't go
Antonio,
back on it now.
Tuesdays and Sundays. We're going to be doing Tuesdays and Sundays. We've been doing Tuesdays and Sundays for a little while now, but appreciate you tuning in.
Yeah. Tuesday night, recap, preview, discussions. Sunday,
Questions,
yeah,
waivers.
Sunday the rundown.
All right, guys. Answers by guess. Anything else? Final words there, guess?
No, I love that some YouTubers were here. Very cool.
Yeah, definitely cool to see that, man. Remember, always like and follow us on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, and Patreon. Also, going to be putting out a couple new videos tonight. Remember, like them, share them, help us out, guys. We actually hit 250 members now in the group. I think we're over 250 something in the page. So keep on following us. The more we get to have some followers, hopefully the more we can give some more information out, you know?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I don't want to cut you off. Continue, my man.
I'm just excited about another week of fantasy football. I was down this week. I was upset on Sunday. It wasn't a good day. And then I sat there and I thought, I'm like, it's week 2. Why am I getting so angry about my players not playing up to their potential?
I was angry because my dinosaur computer pooped on me. And and then it started good Sunday, and then it was just chaos. And there's just so many world adult things that just
dad duties.
They try and distract me from my red zone.
I love the fact that my boys are old enough now to be like, Dad, should we sit on red zone? I'm like, yes,
we should.
We should put on red zone and sit on the couch and watch it together.
Oh my gosh.
A couple last minute questions here. Mahomes or Brady?
Hey, I don't even know who they're playing.
Chiefs are playing the Chargers. Chiefs are home. Brady's playing the Rams. Rams are home.
Mahomes.
Yeah. I think Mahomes would be pissed.
That's kind of an easy call. Honestly. It's kind of an easy call. It's Tuesday. It's too soon for me to really get into my Sunday feelings. Don't get into my feelings.
Express those feelings, man.
I got a feeling that this is going to be a Brady pouty face week.
What have I always said, man? If you can get to Brady and rattle him, he's a totally different quarterback.
If there's one team that can get to Brady, it's the Rams.
They're scary, man. Dude, Aaron Donald needs like 7 people on him.
Who needs a drink? Me? You're right.
If you're offering, I'll take one.
I know. Well. Where are we going, Antonio?
Yeah, you let me know.
Where are we going, baby? Let's do it.
All right, guys. Remember, answers by guess. We'll be back on Sunday. We'll post with time. Soccer, obviously, like we mentioned, daddy duties, all that stuff. We'll definitely make sure to put as much information out there as soon as possible. But answers by guess. Fantasy football's inside scoop from outside the box.
Yeah, real quick before we bounce. We were talking kind of before the show. We're saying we're going to have some guests again. So maybe next Tuesday, we'll talk about it on the Sunday show, Sunday morning. So make sure you tune in. We'll talk about it. Maybe we'll have a couple special guests next Tuesday for the week 3. Maybe we'll do it like every 3 weeks or something.
Yeah, get a couple people live. Sounds like a plan to me.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Peace.
Good night.